The following Nuvacor video will assist you when working with seams during wall cladding or paneling applications. So let's get started. When using our 1/8 inch thick sheet, Nuvacor can be used in wall cladding or paneling applications with no need for a special subsurface support panel. Our 1/8 inch or 3 mm sheet is rigid enough to disguise superficial, uneven surfaces, effectively neutralizing the telegraphing effects that such surfaces normally have on thinner, more pliant materials. Where necessary, common wall subsurfaces include drywall or sheetrock, MDF medium-density fiberboard, plywood, exterior or interior grades, and chipboard. On drywall sheetrock walls, it is recommended that securing screw heads be spackled and that seams be taped and spackled. The more even the subsurface finish is, the better the completed job will be. However, in this demonstration, we'll see that Nuvacor can be successfully applied to even a rough, unsanded, taped, and spackled sheetrock wall. When applying Nuvacor onto a sheetrock wall, it's important to establish a square edge as a start-off point to ensure that the wall paneling will line up correctly, side to side and top to bottom, across the full span of the wall that is being clad. It is best to start from the center of a wall and work out toward the extreme left and right sides of the wall, where final measurements and cutting can be done on the end panels to ensure an accurate finished project. Use a commonly available level to establish a straight edge or guideline from top to bottom and mark it in pencil on the subsurface. In larger installations, one can use laser levels to establish both vertical as well as horizontal guidelines. On any porous subsurface such as sheetrock, plywood, MDF, or chipboard, you will need to apply a coating of our NU 1386 Nuvastick waterborne adhesive. This can be applied by brush, paint roller, or it can be sprayed on. On larger walls, a paint roller is the most advisable way to apply the adhesive. It is important to make sure that a full coat is applied across the wall surface. If the surface is uncommonly porous and absorbent, you may want to apply a second coat of NU 1386. Before the Nuvacor sheet is adhered to the wall, it will be important to make sure that the Nuvacor 1386 is fully flashed off and dry to the touch. In more humid environments, this may take longer than in drier climates, and it may be advisable to use fans directed at the wall to ensure that the Nuvastick is fully dry before applying the Nuvacor sheet. Of course, please be careful not to blow dirt or dust at the wall, as you'll want to ensure that the wall is as free of dirt and dust as possible. In a dry, open state, fully dried NU 1386 will maintain its adhesive power for hours before applying the NU 100 self-adhesive backed Nuvacor. Just ensure that no dirt blows onto the wall during that open time. The preferred method for applying one sheet of Nuvacor to another across a wall is to chamfer or bevel the meeting edge of the Nuvacor sheets side to side and top to bottom, where all joining edges have been pre-beveled, sanded, and polished, or in the case of matte finish Nuvacor sheets, simply beveled and sanded. The most controllable and practical way of doing this is by following these simple steps. Step 1. Beveling. Place the Nuvacor sheet that needs to be beveled face up on a flat surface. Before you start this kind of installation, it's a good idea to use a marking pen to identify which edges of the sheet need to be beveled. You'll bevel the edge of the sheet by running the roller bearing trim guide on the bit across the face surface of the Nuvacor sheet, making sure to keep the router straight and perpendicular to the surface across the entire length. Pay particular attention at the start and end of the sheet, where the router guide plate can easily twist or bend, causing the cutting bit to deform the bevel or possibly remove more of the sheet than is intended. When working with the 1/8 inch or 3 mm sheet, the bevel can be close to the full 1/8 inch. However, we recommend a bevel that is approximately half the thickness or equal to approximately 1/16 inch or 1.6 mm. Step 2. Sanding and polishing. Use an orbital sander with 320 grit sandpaper to sand along the full length of the beveled sheet, making sure not to sand so much of the edge that you end up with a crooked joining line. If working with a matte finish Nuvacor sheet for your wall paneling, after sanding you'll simply clean the beveled edge of any residual dust. It's best to use a cotton cloth, microfiber cloth, or a paper towel dampened with water. When working with our high gloss finished sheet, then you'll use a high-speed drill with a shank-mounted cotton buffing wheel and a recommended buffing rouge compound, carefully running the length of the beveled edge in order to polish it to a high-gloss finish. Step 3. Application. You are now ready to apply the Nuvacor panel to the sheetrock wall, which has been sealed with a coating of NU 1386 Nuvastick. Remember that the adhesive coating should be dry to the touch before applying the beveled and polished Nuvacor panels to the wall subsurface. Removing only a portion of the release paper on the back of the Nuvacor sheet will keep the extremely aggressive NU100 self-adhesive back from sticking to the wall, until you're sure that the panel is perfectly square to the starting guideline you marked on the wall when you started the project. Depending on the size of the panels being adhered to the wall, this may be a two-person job. Once you are sure that the sheet is lined up square to your guideline on the subsurface, you can apply pressure to the top of the sheet where you peeled back part of the release paper from the back of the sheet. Ensure that it is well adhered to the subsurface wall. The rest of the sheet will not adhere yet because the release paper will keep the sheet from sticking to the NU 1386 coated subsurface. Gently pull the remainder of the sheet away from the wall so you can remove the rest of the release paper from the back, ensuring that as you proceed down the length of the sheet, you remain square to your guideline marked on the wall. Apply just enough pressure to ensure that the rest of the sheet is secured to the wall. You'll want to apply full pressure only at the end of your project, once all of your panels have been set in place correctly. Step 4. Camouflaging the subsurface. Once your first panel is in place, you'll want to use a marking pen. Black for most dark colors works well. For other medium-toned or lighter Nuvacor colors, a matching color marker will work. Using the marker, color the wall subsurface by running the marker down the adhered edge of the Nuvacor sheet. This will ensure that if the seams edge to edge, sheet to sheet, aren't perfectly airtight, which they shouldn't be in order to allow for nominal expansion and contraction in extreme temperature changes, the subsurface wall will not be visible to the human eye. With smaller panels, once you feel comfortable with the process, you can remove the entire release paper before applying the joining panel to an already adhered Nuvacor sheet. Ensure that the majority of the panel is kept well away from the subsurface wall, and place just the beveled edge of the second panel next to the beveled edge of the already adhered panel. Apply enough pressure at the beveled seams to ensure that you maintain a close and straight joint between the two Nuvacor sheets. Lower the rest of the sheet onto the wall and apply enough pressure to secure the second panel firmly to the subsurface. Step 5. Once you've applied all of the wall panels in your project, you'll want to apply significant pressure to the entire wall, ensuring that you have complete contact between the NU100 backed Nuvacor sheets and the NU 1386 Nuvastick impregnated subsurface. This can be done by applying hand pressure across the surface of the sheets or by using a J roller across the flat surface, paying attention not to apply excessive force that could potentially damage the sheets. Step 6. You are now ready to peel the paper masking off of the Nuvacor panels. Step back and enjoy your progress. Only one more step to go. Step 7. There are two methods to finishing the seam details. Method 1. The bevel edge method. Leave protective sheet on the Nuvacor surface. Bevel the joining edges of the Nuvacor panels to be joined, sand, and polish. Do not butt join factory edge. In this example, we flanked a narrow piece of our Marguerite cherry with two larger panels of white number 38773. When using Nuvacor panels of significantly different tonal values, it is almost impossible to notice a seam. With method 2, the strip reveal method, leave a 1/16 inch gap between the sheets. Place beveled strip with beveled edges across gap. Adhere by removing peel and stick peel coat paper. Alternative joining details like aluminum U channeling stock or 1/8 inch aluminum flat stock can also be used at the point of a joint to separate panels. Again, please note, do not butt factory edges. Butt joints are not recommended for Nuvacor. In order to butt Nuvacor panel to panel, the edges must be machined. For more information and complete fabrication details, please visit Nuvacor.com and download our fabrication manual. Thanks for watching, and best of luck with your project.